Hello guys, um, I arrived in Zim 4 days ago, and this is my experience about Zimbabwe. I've stayed in South Africa for 7 years. Although I've been in and out, I've been visiting Zimbabwe, but I could only visit for 2 weeks because of work. So I don't really know much about how Zimbabwe works. I don't know about, I don't know how to survive in Zimbabwe because I've not been around for a very long time. But I want to share my experience for the past 4 days. Well, let me share with you what I encountered at the border. So when we got to the border from South Africa, the Zimbabwean border, I saw a lot of young people who were selling airtime, exchanging money. And remember, when we got to the border, we got to the border at 12 midnight, and we waited there for almost 6 hours because the buses were too many because a lot of people are coming this side. So these young men, they're younger than me, and I'm pretty sure they are still going to school, but they were at the border. So I asked one of them, because one of them was yawning. He was busy trying to sell, but he was yawning, like, ah, like someone who wants to sleep. But I was like, man, you must go to sleep. You must go home and sleep, go and rest. How long have you been here at the border? He told me he was there since the morning. So nearly he worked 24 hours. Then I told him, why are you working so hard like this? And he said he has to raise his own school fees. So I was like, okay. So how are you going to raise your school fees selling airtime and exchanging money or selling SIM cards? He told me that you don't have any other means to make money. So in Zimbabwe, there is high unemployment. And for me to come from South Africa and expect to get a job, it's a dream that will never come.
So this is a Zimbabwean telling us here on YouTube that there is high unemployment rate there in Zimbabwe. And us as South Africans have been preaching on the internet, telling the whole world something that everybody already knows, that there is high unemployment in South Africa as well. So this is a Zimbabwean coming into South Africa looking for opulence or opportunities that the same South Africans that are residing in South Africa are struggling to get themselves. Searching for greener pastures in a land where the greener pastures are not even accessible to the citizens. Let's keep going.
To pass. Because that will never happen. That will definitely never happen. So I've been going to town trying to see if I can fit in, because if I'm to live in Zimbabwe, I have to find ways to survive. But it seems like everyone this side is selling. They are doing their own thing. I've not met anyone who's saying that they are looking for a job. So in Zimbabwe...
So I suppose he's saying that I've never met anybody in Zimbabwe ever since he's been back into the country who says that they're looking for a job, because there are no jobs, I suppose. And that's why you have teenagers there at the border selling airtime and cool drink. Which makes sense because, I mean, it's a failed state. Zimbabwe is a failed state. and South Africa is on the verge of being a failed state itself. And the likes of groups such as Operation Dudula and March have decided to take to the streets to make sure that South Africa does not become a Zimbabwe. And South Africans are being called xenophobic for that. Okay.
There are no jobs. That's one thing that I can assure you. Maybe someone who's watching me is someone who wants to come to Zimbabwe, or because I've noticed that most of South Africans, they watch my videos, and most of them have been saying, no, you must go back home, things like that. And also Zimbabweans have been so defensive that their country, Zimbabwe, is good. They can go back and find ways to survive. But that is a lie.
Thank you so much for exposing the truth, sir. Appreciate it. Because a lot of Zimbabweans have been saying that going back to Zimbabwe is not a problem because Zimbabwe is a good place, blah, say, blah. But the reality is, according to what we've been seeing on YouTube, at least on my feed, Zimbabwe is not as good as everybody makes it out to be on TikTok. In reality, Zimbabwe is a very, very undeveloped country. I mean, in comparison to countries such as, I'd say, maybe South Africa, I suppose. I mean, it wouldn't be the case that we have half of the population of Zimbabwe in South Africa if Zimbabwe was such a great country after all, almost, no?
Zimbabwe is improving. It's not like what it was before. That I can guarantee you there are better roads. Our president is trying his best to fix the country. He even introduced the new currency, which is called ZIG. It has some value. It is working. That's a good thing. It actually means that our country is moving in the right direction. But the reality on the ground now is that if most of to tell you the truth, Zimbabwe has been benefiting from the diaspora remittances, people that are sending money to Zim, because these people, they pay tax. So Zimbabwe has been benefiting a lot from such transactions. But now, because there's a mass
and that's what South Africans have been saying, that immigrants who are claiming to be contributing into South Africa's economy are lying. South Africans have been saying that it's a lie because the money that they're generating is not circulating in the South African economy. These are funds or monies that are being sent sometimes through malicious ways into other countries such as Ethiopia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Zimbabwe, Malawi, sometimes using some nefarious ways to transfer these funds and having them leave our economy instead of staying and circulating in our own South African economy. And I'm glad that my brother here is confessing to that.
There's a lot of people who are coming back home. That means in some ways Zimbabwe is going to suffer, and the people that are coming in their masses, they are going to strain the economy, which is on its path to recovery.
Which means there will be less money for the government to tax, since there won't be a lot of people sending money into Zimbabwe from making these monies outside of Zimbabwe, which makes very, very, very logical sense, economical logical sense for Zimbabwe to suffer or be strenuous in its economy. I suppose this has nothing to do with how developed the country is itself, because it shows rather a lack of development within the country's borders itself to maintain its own economy outside of influence from other economies such as the South African economy itself. So it's very unfortunate, and it will trickle down into the South African economy as well, because South Africans themselves are going to suffer since there won't be any foreigners since the population of the foreigners was also consuming South African products, a lot of South African businesses are also going to be hit with a lack of customers. So I suppose this hits everybody across the board. Let's keep going.
So it's not a joke. It isn't. So my experience now in Zimbabwe is this. Guys, it's not easy.
Can you imagine, Buta?
It's not easy. It's not easy. South Africa provided us with easy life. If you can get a job, make money, come back home,
So that's coming from a Zimbabwean. He's saying that in South Africa it's a lot easier. You can simply just get a job and you can come back home. Well, the lived reality of the majority of South Africans, especially the youth here in the country, facing 60% unemployment rate, will tell you a different story. That I was born and raised in this country, and a lot of them haven't been employed. So it's not as easy for South Africans to get a job as opposed to a Zimbabwean. I mean, for him, for instance, it's very easy because they can simply undercut his wage. He can simply earn underneath or under the minimum wage gap, or wage rather, simply because they're a foreign national who's undocumented and therefore can be exploited by the capitalist, the greedy capitalist system that we have operating in the country.
Do your own thing. But here in Zimbabwe, especially people like us who are from diaspora, we are the most target. Because everyone who sees us, they see money, they think we have got money, and yet we don't have anything. As for me, I don't have anything. And so, guys, it's I've got to be strong. 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 Because if you want to do something, what is it that you can do that no one is doing? So, it's dogs eat dogs in Zimbabwe.
It's a dog eat dog
I
world.
used to say to the people that relocated before and decided to come back to go back to South Africa, I used to think, these people do not have plan and everything, something like that. But it's a reality, guys. But as for me, because the reason why I'm doing this video, I want to be as honest as I can to you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Because I do not want to start a YouTube channel which tells you lie. I don't want to tell you lies. I want to give you the truth. Nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
If you're gonna like it, it's gonna work for you. If you don't like it,
It is what it is.
then it's not for you. So, you see where I am?
Uh-huh.
This is the only place that I can refresh my mind, try to re-strategize, try to recorrect. Because when I came here, I was thinking, when I get to Zimbabwe, I will see what I can do there. But the way I'm seeing things now, I need a master plan.
Yeah.
But because I've got a family, I cannot now change and say, let's relocate, let's go back to South Africa, where we are not needed. So,
And that's one misconception I want to quickly chat about. He said that I can't go back to South Africa because that's where we are not needed. Obviously, he's speaking in his context. He's speaking from his lens, right? As far as his skill level is concerned, well, the truth is, immigration is extremely important for any other country, including South Africa. Yeah, all countries need immigrants. However, every country needs skilled immigrants. Okay, so if Homeslice possessed the skill that South Africa needed, he would definitely find it very, very easy to come into the country the right way and operate whatever it is that that he has to operate in the country legally. Unfortunately, a lot of very, very huge number of immigrants that are fleeing or coming from outside of South Africa are coming into South Africa with non-critical skills. And that's why, in his context, from his subjective perspective, he feels like, I can't go back into South Africa where we are not needed as Zimbabweans. Sharp is saying it in a plural fashion, but it's very subjective. He's speaking about his level of skill. The skills that he possesses currently are not needed in the country. A lot of people can do what he was doing in the country. I'm assuming. He hasn't shared yet exactly what he was doing, but I can assume that his skill level was one that South Africans possess and can simply do in a workplace without having to outsource it or export it from Zimbabwe. Let's keep going.
I will have to stay, be like other men in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, who are making it. There are people now in Zimbabwe, men like me, who are making it. Who are making who are making a fortune, who are living a better life than those in the diaspora. So I'll have to figure out how are they doing it.
Yeah.
If you want to survive in Zimbabwe, do something. Do something. If you go into town now, you will see people are selling bells, second-hand clothes. Someone selling vegetables. Next to the other one, there's also vegetables. Someone selling honey, and you'd wonder, why are they spending so much time selling those stuff? And if those stuff are not making any money, so why are they there? That means they're making money. For Zimbabweans, it's not about how much you're making. It's not about how much you're making. As long as they get $1 out of what they are selling, then that's fine for them. I think I used the wrong way.
Yeah, you haven't been in Zim in a long time. Of course you're using the wrong way. Homie's getting lost.
So guys, as for me, I want to appeal to my viewers. I don't want to be a beggar.
Yeah.
But to those that are willing in their heart to support us, since we're in Zimbabwe, and I think maybe there are people who are in the diaspora who have got their projects running here, be it a building project or maybe any project that would need management. I'm here for you. And I believe I may be a trusted manager for your project. And I'll be able to give you a real-time update on your projects. So, surviving in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So that's it, guys.
And there you have it, folks. So I guess we just got a glimpse as to exactly what's going on there in Zimbabwe. Like Homeslice just shared with us that it's not such honey and sweet milk and roses there in Zim, because everybody is literally selling something. Why is even kids selling something? Because they have to, pay for their own education. I don't know if maybe it's the case that education is not free in Zimbabwe like it is here in South Africa. And I use the word free very loosely, because if it's free, somebody else is paying for it. Like in South Africa, it's taxpayers who are paying for the education system in the country. The taxpayers are also paying for the free, in inverted commas, health care. It's not really free. Somebody else is paying for it, which is the taxpayer. So I suppose in Zimbabwe it's not the case. They don't have free health care. They might not have free education. I'm not sure about the education part, but I do know about the health care, because they do jump the border to come give birth and get medication here in South African clinics, especially there in the border of Limpopo. So yeah, I guess the situation there is pretty pop, and to some degree it is a good thing that a lot of them have left South Africa, even though it's not, in my opinion, even a drop in the ocean. It's still quite a large number, to a point where a lot of them are actually documenting their lifestyles there in Zimbabwe. And we're going to continue playing on more videos of the situation there in Zimbabwe. Okay. So I'm saying that to say that the ones that are in Zimbabwe can currently, fight for their rights and bare minimum service delivery from the government. You know what I mean? They can start demanding it, as far as how they've seen South Africa's, organize themselves, forming protests to basically demand for bare basic services and bare basic laws to be implemented as far as immigration is concerned. Zimbabwe can start demanding from the government to operate things accordingly for them as citizens, because they've been contributing in taxes for a very long time, using monies that they've been making in countries such as South Africa. When they send money back home, that money gets taxed by the Zimbabwean government. So the country, or the citizens of Zimbabwe, have been contributing to the Zimbabweans' fiscus or purse without them having to reside in Zimbabwe. So they do have a right to demand the government to operate as far as how they want the government to operate. You know what I mean? Make sure that you guys scan the QR code that's on the top left corner of your screen. It'll take you to my online bookshop rather. So buy a book if you can. Appreciate it.